Welcome back to Adrian's Avenue, and today we've got a hot topic for you once again. I know I talk a lot about savings, and today we're going to talk about how many savings accounts should you really have and what should those accounts encompass. Stay tuned. There are a few benefits to having different savings accounts and savings accounts just in general. And one of the benefits is you can be goal oriented. That savings account can be named as future home down payment. It can be named as my future car, could be named as vacation account, could be named as Christmas fund, but that savings account will help you get to the goal that you're eventually trying to reach. Now you can put a time frame on the goal, but that's the benefit of having a savings account that will help you get to those goals that you have in mind. Another benefit of a savings account is that it's a psychological motivation. As you see those numbers go up in that savings account from $100, $200, $300, and next thing you know, there's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 in there. That's a psychological motivation to let you know that you are progressing and moving forward, and the numbers are actually showing it. The next thing about a savings account, for the ones that are tempted from money being so close that they could get it at any time, you can actually have savings accounts in different areas, different cities, different states that maybe not so accessible to you, just readily available to you, that you'll go out and get those. And I know some folks that they will not put all their savings in one bank. They'll put them in separate banks that will take some effort to get to. That way they're discouraged that they don't want to go that far, don't want to drive that far just to draw money out of the bank. So this is another benefit of different savings accounts in different areas. And last but not least, if you have more than $250,000 in any savings account, you can actually put it in different banks. That way it's covered by FDIC. You don't have to worry about it. So if you have that kind of money out there, just divide it up, put it in the bank so that it is actually insured to that amount. And if something were to happen, you wouldn't lose that money. Now let's jump right in. We're going to go over the most practical savings accounts that you can actually have within your possession. First up is an emergency fund. This is something that you all need, we all need. An emergency fund specifically is to cover those emergencies such as a job loss, something that's going to take a lot of money, or if there's going to be a fund that's normally coming in, income coming in, that's going to be cut off for a month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That's what you want that emergency fund for. You don't really use it to pay for little expenses around the house that may be little minor emergencies, and we'll get to that fund. But this is for major catastrophes, major things that if you didn't have it, that you may lose your house, you may lose your car. You know, the income is not flowing like it used to. So you want that emergency fund to cover a job loss or something that's catastrophic, that you need that money. You need it right now, and you may need it for 2 or 3 months down the road until you can get back on your feet. That's what the emergency savings is for. Once you have that amount, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year, you can stop putting money into that account because you've accomplished what you set out to do with your emergency fund. It's not a fund that keeps going on and on and on. Now, I would say, evaluate your situation every year. If your monthly bills, monthly expenses are continuously going up, you may need to raise that amount of money that you have in your emergency fund. But make sure you check that out every year. And if it's good, you don't have to put anything else in there. If it's not good, sock the rest of the money in there that needs to be in there. So that's what that emergency fund is, and that's the first savings account that we will actually talk about. Next up is the rainy day fund. Now, the difference in an emergency fund and a rainy day fund, the rainy day fund is for emergencies also, but those are minor emergencies such as a flat tire or an appliance that goes out in the house. It's a little bit of cash set aside to cover. It may be $1,000, it may be $1,200, maybe $1,500, but a little bit of cash set aside to cover those small emergencies, so you won't have to dip into your real emergency fund, because those are for, remember, major emergencies. So your rainy day fund is something that you can dip into to cover certain things that it won't have to jeopardize your a monthly flow of money and bill paying and budget and everything like that. So keep yourself a rainy day fund, and all of these funds are just suggestions. You pick and choose the ones that you feel that you need in your life and for your household. But these are some practical, some basic funds, and there are quite a few on the list. But these are some basic funds that you can just look at yourself to see, do I need this? Do I need to save for this? Will it help me in the long run? Will it help me in the short run? Will it help my finances? Next up, most people have just a general savings account that they have out there. It's probably in a local bank, may not get that great of interest rate, but it's just a general fund that you have around. I have one in one of the major banks that's out there. It doesn't get very much interest, but it's there just in case I need to go with my ATM card and pull some money out for whatever reason. It's just a general savings account, and you can put as much money or as little money in this as you want to. If it's not making much interest, I would say don't put a whole lot in there, but it's just another fund out there that if you want to go somewhere for the weekend or do something and you don't have the cash available for you at home, you can go and just tap into that. But like I said, if the interest rate is very, very low, I would not put a lot in this, just a general fund. My favorite is the high yielding savings account. This is where I have the bulk of my money because the interest rate is good. And this is where I can make a lot of money on the money that I have in there. And most of them are online. Mine is online, so I don't have access to it readily other than maybe a day or two if I really need the funds, but I'll plan out if I need to take money out of this. But this is golden, you all. Get in the high interest bearing savings account. Put your money there if you're going to leave it there for any amount of time. Stuff that you don't need, like right now, the money that you're not going to invest with, the money that you may be saving to purchase a house, you may be saving to purchase a car. You want your money to make money. So this is my favorite kind of savings account, is the high yielding savings account. This is, for me, it's more of a midterm, long-term account. It's nothing that it's money that I'm socking money into on a monthly basis, but it's nothing that I'm going to go in and take it out on a regular basis either. I'm going to use my general savings if I need it to do that. But the high yielding, I want it to stay there and I want it to make as much money as I possibly can. And if I take some out, that's great. I can look at the interest and see how much I'm making. And that's my encouragement, to keep it in there for as long as I can, to make that high interest as it's available to us. Who knows how long we'll have these 4.5%, 5%, over 5% interest rates that you can make on your money. Take advantage of it right now. Now, I want you to save, but I also want you to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as it becomes available to you. And make a comment. How many savings accounts do you have? And what are the names of the savings accounts? Let us know what you're doing in your life. And let me know if this information is helping you. I'm just giving you some ideas, so I'd love to hear your comments. The next type of savings account we'll discuss is the goal-specific savings account. And this savings account is for the goals that you have throughout the year, such as it could be goals that you have during the year, such as saving for weddings, saving for birthdays, saving for events like that, things that you know that are coming up that you need to save for, graduations, all of that. You can lump those all together. You could have a Christmas fund that you're saving for. You can have, if you're saving for a car, if you're saving for a down payment on a house, but they're goal-specific savings accounts. And the beauty of these is that you can actually have the money automatically sent to these accounts from your paycheck, that you don't have to physically transfer money from one account to the next in order to get that money over there. Another thing you can do on some of the online accounts, the high interest bearing online accounts, you can actually set up different buckets that you have. I know for Ally, which is one of the accounts that I use, I have different buckets set up in there. And so when I'm sending money over there, I can specify which bucket it's going to go in. And I won't have to have a whole lot of savings accounts. I can have all one for my goal specific saving account up under that one. But if I'm saving for a car, when I was saving for a car, I'd have that up under there, automobile. Now it's just automobile repairs. I have an account for that. And if there's other things, investment property, there's an account for that. If it's stock that I want to buy, there's an account for that. So you can have all these sub accounts up under one account, and as long as all that money doesn't go over the 250,000, you're FDIC protected. So that's a great thing, but it can go automatically over there, and that way you can see what bucket you have, how long it's going to take you to fill that bucket, when it's time to go ahead and spend that money. Because once my vehicle automobile savings account was full, I knew I didn't want to pay any more than that on a vehicle. And so once it got to the amount where this is what I want to spend, I could start looking and shopping for a vehicle within that amount, and then draw it out and pay for that, and then start either filling that bucket back up for the next vehicle that I may buy, or filling it up as repairs as this vehicle needs repairs. So, but just know that you can have goal specific savings throughout the year, or if it's going to, like if it's a house down payment, it may take a couple of years to get there. So don't give up on your goal specific savings accounts, but this is another good thing, another good account that you can have out there to meet your goals. This next one I had, but didn't know what to call it, and it is a sinking fund account. And this can be used specifically for, I pay my own property taxes and I pay my own insurance on my house. And so this comes up once a year, and normally it's in your mortgage if you choose to do that. But if you put a certain amount of down on your house, they don't have to put it in escrow for you. You can escrow it yourself. And by escrowing it yourself, you're saving it in your own account. You got to be disciplined to do this, but you're making interest on the money that you're putting in that account. So this sinking fund account is what it's actually called. You put a certain amount in there, and then when December hits, or when it's time to pay for the house insurance, that money should be sitting there. So you'll divide however much over 12 months to meet whatever month it comes in that is due. Our property taxes are due at the end of the year. My insurance on this house is due around April. So by April, I'll need to know how much I need in that sinking fund account to pay for insurance. Now, insurance goes up pretty much every year as far as homeowners insurance, and auto insurance does too. But knowing that, I can look back over the years to see, oh, it went up maybe 20%, 10%, and put a little bit more in there, because I know it's not going to be the same number that it was last year. I know it's going to go up. It may go up by 200, may go up by 300, who knows? But if I can put a little bit more in there, I'll know that I'll be closer to the amount of paying it off in full when it comes due. So this sinking fund account, it's things that's going to come due during the year that you don't pay on a regular basis. It may be every 6 months, it may be annually. But this is what the sinking fund is called. I was doing it, didn't know what it was called, but now I know what it's called. So consider a sinking fund. If you have things coming due once a year, paying for any kind of taxes or any kind of insurances that you don't want to interfere with your budget, you can set that aside, put it in the savings, and when it's time for you to pay it, you'll have that money sitting there. This tax savings account is different from a sinking fund because I'm talking about business owners. Because I'm a realtor, I pay quarterly taxes. Every quarter, I go online to see when are the taxes due. The taxes were just due in June for second quarter. I think it was June the 17th that I had to pay my taxes by. For businesses, this is business specific. So if you pay your taxes quarterly during the year, I have an account that when I sell houses, there's a certain amount I take out to pay my taxes. I'm not going to be one of those realtors get caught up at the end of the year, may have made a certain amount of money, but didn't pay my taxes. And so now I'm looking and scrounging for money to pay taxes. That's not me. I want to be prepared. If I owe it to Uncle Sam, I'm going to pay it to Uncle Sam. But my taxes are going to be paid on a quarterly basis. And so I set money aside to pay my taxes. My accountant tells me about how much each quarter I'm going to need to put in and pay for the taxes. So it's an estimated amount, but I base it on my sales for that quarter. and whatever expenses I keep are running. This year, you guys would be very proud of me. I actually have my budget in place and keep a running spreadsheet for my businesses, not only my personal life, but my businesses. So I know how much I've been paying out in expenses, as well as how much money I've been taking in for the rental properties and real estate and everything. So that being said, I know approximately how much taxes I'm going to pay. Now, everything is not put in there because the mileage and all that kind of stuff, I'm not figuring all of that out. But general expenses, I know, it's on the spreadsheet, so I kind of know about that. And so go ahead, put it in an account. So when it comes time to pay taxes, I don't have to worry and wonder about where I'm getting this money from. The money is there, sitting there, waiting to pay the taxes. So a tax account specifically for people in business is a good thing to put aside and make sure you pay your quarterly taxes if that's the way you pay your taxes. Last but not least, and this is not all inclusive, of course, but if you have children, you probably want to have an account for your children. And this is savings accounts for them, whether you're going to use the money for school. There's different accounts you can put money in if you want them to go to college, and that's what you want that money specifically to go to. Or you can put the money in different funds. And I would use a high yielding savings account for this also, because you want your money to work for you. And since this is not going to be used probably until way down the line, could be 15, 16, 17, 18 years from the time you started, you can have this money making money for you. And so you can set them up in their own individual savings accounts. And it may be money that you just want to give to them at a certain age, either to help them with college, help them buy a house, help them, do whatever, invest, start a business, whatever. But you have those funds sitting there. And it's something that doesn't have to interrupt your life at any point in time. Those funds are specifically for your children. And, if you have 2 kids, you'll have 2 funds. If you have 3 or 4 kids, you'll have as many funds as you have children, so that they'll all be taken care of. And you make the decisions, because you'll put their names on them and you'll put the money in the bank for them and everything. But you can make the decisions of if they're responsible enough to handle the money when it's time for you to give it to them. If they're not, you put the money in there and you don't have to give it to them. But I would say be prepared to specifically set money aside for your children. And that is the final account that I will discuss today. If you have other accounts that you have out there that you think that would be helpful, let me know. I'm open to other accounts, other ideas, something that I may have missed. I know there's a HSA account out there for health savings. That's one I did not cover, but that's something that you can also save money in. But yeah, there are other accounts out there that you may have, but I didn't want to get too difficult with so many accounts, because some of these I use and they apply to me, and some of them I don't use because they don't apply to me. But the ones that are necessary, I use, and I keep a running list of all my accounts. I know exactly how much money is in all my accounts. I check my accounts pretty much on a weekly, if not monthly basis. Because I want to know what's going on with the money and how much interest. They'll send you these statements every month, and I would advise you to check your statements on a monthly basis to see how much interest that you're making on these accounts. And if the account is not making you enough interest, you can shift it over to your high yielding savings account. And so, but hopefully this has been helpful to you, and I will see you in the next video.